Hello, my name is Andre Bell. In this video, I want to show you something I've been working toward for years. Not just a software product, a system. For years, I wanted a way to analyze a business, identify growth opportunities, and create implementation-ready marketing deliverables for clients without spending weeks or months rebuilding strategy from scratch. The challenge was obvious. Delivering that level of value required enormous amounts of consulting time, research, and experience. In many cases, it simply wasn't practical. Then AI happened. Finally, the technology existed to help execute the vision I'd been pursuing for years. So, I started building, and testing, and rebuilding, and testing again. After more than 13,000 individual execution tests during development, the first working version finally emerged. Today, that system is called the Invincible AI Growth Engine. And rather than spend this video talking about it, I'd rather show it to you. Let's jump in. This is the dashboard. The platform is built around a structured 12-step business growth framework. The first 3 steps establish the foundation. Everything that follows builds upon that foundation. The goal is simple. Instead of generating disconnected content, the system attempts to maintain strategic continuity and preserve context across the entire growth process. Let's start with the first 3 foundation areas. The first step is avatar intelligence. This is where the platform helps define who the customer is, not just demographics, but motivations, problems, goals, buying considerations. The information gathered here becomes part of the business intelligence used throughout the rest of the framework. The second step is buyer psychology. This goes deeper. Instead of describing the customer from the outside, the goal is to understand how the customer thinks, their frustrations, their desires, their concerns, their motivations, the language they naturally use. This becomes incredibly valuable later when generating marketing recommendations and assets. The third step is company intelligence. This captures information about the company itself, positioning, strengths, constraints, differentiators, goals, voice and tone, strategic direction. Together, these 3 steps create the business intelligence layer that powers everything else. You can think of the framework like this: business intelligence, growth drivers, growth opportunities, AI-generated assets, business growth. Everything starts with business intelligence. From there, the platform begins evaluating opportunities across the major drivers of business growth: average transaction value, transaction frequency, lead conversion, lead generation, profits, referral generation, referral conversion, customer lifetime value, and exit readiness. The idea isn't to create random marketing content. The idea is to identify opportunities first, then create assets aligned with those opportunities. Let's look at an example. What you're seeing here is actual platform output, not a canned demo, not a sample PDF, not a generic overused template filled in with your company name and product or service offering. This is the type of deliverable actually generated by the system. As you can see, these are not one-paragraph AI responses. The goal is to generate substantial recommendations and implementation guidance. Oh, one thing I want to point out here is that these recommendations are influenced by the information established earlier in the framework: avatar intelligence, buyer psychology, company intelligence. That context follows the business throughout the process. Let's look at another example. Again, the objective isn't content for content's sake. The objective is identifying opportunities and creating assets that support business growth. As you move through the framework, the system can generate growth recommendations, marketing strategies, campaign concepts, promotional ideas, referral systems, retention programs, expansion opportunities, and implementation guidance. What makes this different from most AI tools is that the platform isn't built around isolated prompts. Most AI marketing tools work like this: prompt, answer, prompt, answer, prompt, answer. Everything is disconnected. Invincible AI Growth Engine attempts to maintain continuity across the entire process. Each step builds upon what came before it. At least that's the goal. Now, I want to be completely transparent. This is an alpha release. The platform works, the framework works, real users are being added, but this is not a finished enterprise product, and that's intentional. One of the reasons I'm opening access now is because I want to see how real marketers, consultants, agencies, and business owners actually use the platform. Many software founders discover customers use their products in ways they never expected. I suspect the same thing will happen here, and I want to learn from it instead of restrict you to how I imagine the system should be used. I want to pause for a moment and point out something that is easy to miss. At first glance, this may look like just another AI marketing platform. It isn't. For nearly every tactic generated by the system, the output is shaped by the foundation already built inside the platform, specifically these three areas: avatar intelligence, buyer psychology, company intelligence. Then, on top of that foundation, the system allows additional customization through 15 voice and tone options, 19 marketing channels, 26 copywriting frameworks, and 6 AI assistance modes. When you multiply those selector options together, that's 44,460 possible selector combinations for each tactic. And that's where things start becoming difficult to comprehend, because we're not talking about one tactic, we're talking about growth opportunities across steps 4 through 11 of the framework. When you begin multiplying those 44,460 combinations of just one tactic across the thousands of possible tactics that could be recommended for each of the 8 exponential growth strategies of the system, the numbers become so large that no human could reasonably create, manage, or reproduce them manually. Keep in mind, this system is not about creating massive amounts of content. It's about identifying the right growth opportunities, then generating the right assets for the right business in the right context. The goal isn't more content. The goal is better business decisions and more effective marketing execution. The system is not simply filling in templates. It is generating recommendations and assets based on the business, the buyer, the company context, the growth tactic, the selected channel, the selected copy structure, the selected voice and tone, and the selected AI mode. That's one of the reasons I believe AI changes the game, not because it writes content faster, but because it makes this level of customization possible. Of course, all of that flexibility doesn't matter unless it can be applied to real businesses and real growth objectives. That's why the platform was built for 2 different types of users. The SMB plan is designed for independent business owners who want to identify growth opportunities and generate assets for their own company. The agency plan is designed for consultants, agencies, coaches, marketing professionals, and service providers managing multiple clients. Agency accounts can currently manage up to 500 client companies from a single account during alpha stage of rollout. Each company maintains its own business intelligence, recommendations, opportunities, and generated assets. That means you can maintain separate context, separate strategies, and separate deliverables for every client you serve. So whether you're growing your own business or helping clients grow theirs, the goal remains the same: identify better opportunities, make better decisions, and create better marketing assets. So if the platform looks useful to you, subscribe now and put it to work. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.